Highways stretching into darkness. Truck stops glowing under neon lights. Men driving alone. And somewhere, waiting in the shadows, was a woman the world would call a monster. But monsters are not born. They are made. This is the story of Aileen Wuornos. Before the headlines, before the executions, before the label America's first female serial killer, there was a little girl named Aileen, born February 29th, 1956, an unwanted child from the very beginning. Her father, Leo Dale Pittman, was a convicted child molester and diagnosed psychopath. He was in prison when she was born. He would later hang himself in his cell. Her mother abandoned her before she even turned 1. By age 4, Aileen and her brother were left with grandparents who never truly wanted them. What followed was not childhood, it was survival. She was beaten, humiliated, neglected. Neighbors would later say she was wild, angry, uncontrollable. But what they didn't see was the abuse. The sexual assaults began early. Some reports say by age 11, she was already trading sex for cigarettes and food. Imagine that. A child, trying to survive. At 14, she became pregnant after being raped by a family friend. She gave birth in a home for unwed mothers. The baby was given up for adoption. No therapy, no protection, no rescue, just silence and more pain. By 15, she was living in the woods, trading her body to truck drivers, learning one brutal lesson: the world uses you, or you use it back. By her 20s, Aileen drifted through Florida. Bars, truck stops, cheap motels. She lived out of her car. Sometimes she married for money. In 1976, she married a wealthy 69-year-old yacht club president. It lasted weeks. Her violent outbursts ended it. Arrests followed. Armed robbery, car theft, forgery, threats with firearms. Her rap sheet grew, but no one asked why. No one asked what created this rage. Then in 1986, she met Tyria Moore. For the first time in her life, Aileen felt something close to love. The two women became inseparable. Aileen supported them the only way she knew how. Prostitution along Florida highways, night after night, getting into cars with strangers. Alone, vulnerable, terrified, and somewhere in that darkness, something snapped. November 30th, 1989. The body of Richard Mallory was found in a remote wooded area in Volusia County, Florida. He had been shot multiple times. His car was later discovered abandoned. At first, it looked like a robbery, but then another body appeared, and another. Between 1989 and 1990, 7 men were found shot to death along Florida highways. All middle-aged, all alone, all shot at close range. The media began to panic. A serial killer was hunting men, and no one knew who it was. Until January 1991. A pawn shop fingerprint, a surveillance lead, and finally, Aileen Wuornos was arrested at a biker bar. Tyria Moore had already cooperated with police. Wearing a wire, she pleaded with Aileen over the phone to confess. And Aileen did. Aileen didn't deny the killings. She admitted to shooting 7 men, but she claimed something chilling. She said they tried to rape her. Every single one. She said Richard Mallory attacked her violently. She said she killed in self-defense. She said she was terrified. And after the first killing, she believed every man who picked her up wanted to hurt her. So she shot first. The prosecution painted her as a predator, a cold-blooded killer targeting men for money. The defense argued she was a battered woman in survival mode. The truth? Somewhere in between. Mallory, her first victim, had a record for violent sexual offenses. But juries don't judge history. They judge evidence. And in 1992, Aileen Wuornos was sentenced to death. The courtroom called her evil. The media called her a man-hater. Talk shows called her insane. But psychologists saw something else. Severe borderline personality disorder, antisocial traits, paranoia, PTSD from lifelong abuse. She was a child who never healed, a teenager who was never protected, an adult who never learned another way to survive. Was she responsible? Yes. 7 men were dead, families destroyed. But was she born this way, or shaped by brutality? The public didn't care. They wanted a monster, and they got one. Her first conviction came for the murder of Richard Mallory. The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours. Death penalty. More trials followed. More guilty verdicts. More death sentences. She sat in court angry, explosive, sometimes smiling strangely, sometimes lashing out. Television cameras loved it. They had their headline, "Female Serial Killer." The rarest kind, because women aren't supposed to kill like this. But Aileen did, and that made her fascinating, terrifying, marketable. Prison changed her, or maybe it revealed her. She grew increasingly paranoid, claimed guards were poisoning her food, claimed conspiracies, claimed mind control. She refused further appeals. She wanted it over. Her lawyers begged to continue fighting the death sentence. She said no. She told the court, "I'm tired of being on death row. Let's just get on with it." Some believed she was mentally unstable. Others believed she was exhausted. After decades of chaos, maybe she just wanted silence. October 9th, 2002. Florida State Prison. Witnesses gathered. At 9:47 a.m., Aileen Wuornos was executed by lethal injection. Her final words, "I'd just like to say I'm sailing with the rock, and I'll be back like Independence Day with Jesus." Strange, cryptic, broken. She was 46 years old. After her death, debate exploded again. Was she a monster or a product of relentless abuse? In 2003, her story reached Hollywood. The film Monster, starring Charlize Theron, portrayed her life with haunting realism. Theron won an Academy Award. The world re-examined Aileen, but the victims remained buried. 7 men, 7 families, still grieving. True crime loves villains. It loves simple narratives, good versus evil. But Aileen Wuornos challenges that simplicity, because she was both victim and perpetrator, abused and abusive, powerless and deadly. She represents something uncomfortable. What happens when trauma goes untreated? What happens when a child grows up believing violence is normal? What happens when survival becomes aggression? Does society share blame, or only the individual? There are no easy answers, only consequences. Aileen remains one of America's most infamous female killers. Her case is studied in criminology classes, psychology textbooks, debates about capital punishment. She shattered stereotypes. Most serial killers are male. Most female killers use poison. But Aileen hunted on highways, with a gun, in plain sight. Her life forces us to confront a painful reality. Not all monsters hide under beds. Some are born in broken homes, raised in violence, and left alone in the dark. Imagine if someone had intervened when she was 11. Imagine therapy, protection, foster care that worked. Imagine one adult who cared. Would 7 men still be alive? We will never know. But one thing is certain. Aileen Wuornos did not wake up one day and decide to become a symbol of evil. She was shaped, scarred, abandoned, and eventually, she exploded. Her story is not an excuse. It is a warning. Because somewhere right now, there's another child being ignored, another teenager being abused, another human being learning that violence is normal. And history has shown us what can happen next. If this story disturbed you, good, it should. Because true crime is not entertainment. It is consequence. Let me know in the comments. Was Aileen Wuornos born a monster, or created by the world around her? Subscribe to Crime HQ for more dark cinematic deep dives into the cases that changed history. And remember, in the shadows of every monster, there is a story.